My name is Rachel, a student at Stockton University, pursuing my bachelor's degree in environmental science with a concentration in GIS and planning. This video is for my class, Cultural Stereotypes in Media, taking place in the 2023 spring semester. But you might be wondering, what is this video even about? I chose the topic environmental injustice and believe it is important for you to understand what might be going on in your community. But first, we're going to have to define two terms. Let's begin with, what is environmental injustice? Environmental injustice is a set of actions that harm the environment while simultaneously alienating specific groups and communities. An example of this can be seen in certain communities, where industrial facilities are being placed near dense populations and local air quality is being affected. Another example is when companies pollute local bodies of water or the soils beneath these certain communities, which leads us to the next question. How can we define these communities? For the purpose of this video, underserved populations or communities are defined as groups that have limited or no access to resources or that are otherwise disenfranchised. These groups may include people of color as well as those of ethnic and national origin minorities, women and children, individuals with disabilities and others with access and functional needs, and seniors. One prime example of environmental injustice is the area called Cancer Valley. This nickname was given to an 85-mile stretch of land along the Mississippi River between New Orleans and Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which contains over 200 factories, many of which are easily visible from roadways and passerbys. The abnormally high cancer risks and concentration of these factories inspired the Cancer Alley nickname. In fact, in a study conducted by Tulane University, a relationship between cancer rates and carcinogenic air pollution in underserved communities was discovered. These communities consisted of predominantly impoverished and industrialized neighborhoods. Current efforts to address this issue have consisted of several of these communities protesting the continued use and placement of these factories. It has caused the EPA to take notice, going so far as for the administrator of the EPA, Michael Regan, to say that the agency will invest $600,000 towards mobile air pollution monitoring equipment to monitor air quality along the stretch of this Louisiana land. But this is only one small piece of environmental injustice. Many of you may already know about the Flint water crisis, which was a public health situation that began in 2014 when the water of the city Flint, Michigan was contaminated with lead and wastewater. This was a failure on the local government's part, who switched the water from the Detroit Water and Sewer Department to the Flint River. Unsurprisingly, the majority of communities that were affected were minorities and socioeconomic classes that could not leave the area or afford other forms of water. The situation started in April of 2014, and while the water was switched back to its original source within a month, the damage had already been done. It took almost 2 years until it was declared a state of emergency on January 16, 2016. We are still seeing the effects of this today. Where 66% of households have reported one or more adult members experiencing at least one behavioral issue, 54% of households reported that at least one child experienced a behavioral issue, 22% of households reported difficulties getting access to behavioral services, 34% of individuals self-reported symptoms of anxiety, and 29% self-reported symptoms of depression, and 51% of households felt that the physical health of at least one member had worsened due to Flint water crisis. Environmental injustice can also be seen when discussing topics such as climate change. Hurricane Katrina is an example of this, which was a Category 5 hurricane that hit the southern states in August of 2005. It was considered the most costliest hurricane in history, with an estimated $94 to $145 billion in damages. The cities experienced massive wind damage and were completely flooded, with many rescues tending to people stranded on rooftops. The communities most affected by the hurricane can be classified as underserved, many of which were without proper access to transportation and financial resources that would have otherwise allowed them to safely evacuate. Trends can be seen in the relationship between climate change and environmental injustice in many places across the United States. In February of 2021, Texas experienced severe winter conditions that resulted in power outages across the state. Several households were left in sub-freezing temperatures that were unable to afford generators, leaving these communities to suffer severely. The infrastructure was not built to withstand these temperatures, and as a result, many pipes burst, resulting in water damage on many properties. This was additionally devastating for those who were already suffering from these weather conditions, and in addition now had to somehow find the financial sources to now fix the aftermath. Well, you may be thinking, what can I do? I'm just one person. This is the government, the environment, and just communities being affected as a whole. There's nothing I, as an individual, could do to make a difference. And I'm here to tell you that's just not true. The first thing you can do is to practice self-education to inform yourself about the issues within your community and the local governing body's response to this issue. Another way is to have your voice heard by holding representatives accountable for what they may be doing or not doing about these issues. Write letters, make phone calls until they take a moment to respond to you. If it's serious, hold a protest and bring your community together. Look for community building opportunities by helping to clean up areas that have been adversely affected by the injustice, or just taking the time to report these areas. You don't have to rely solely on the government either. You can start by biking to work, taking public transportation, carpooling, or switching to renewable energy. This can help reduce carbon emissions and your overall carbon footprint, and possible adverse health side effects in the local air quality that may be causing asthma or difficulty breathing in others. Support organizations that are local and have sustainably sourced products, but most importantly, conduct the research necessary to understand what needs to be done. One way is to visit the epa.gov/environmental justice to find out what is going on in your region. This website is a great starting point and provides information on environmental justice in your community. It subcategorizes the United States into 10 regions and provides information on several different topics, such as environmental justice communities and environmental justice civil rights contexts. Check it out for more information. So I gotta ask, what will you do after seeing this video?